Hello, this is a request for Roz, from Roz, no, for Roz. It's called How Are You Fixed? And I'll try not to bore you people who already know the story behind this song. But years ago, I was in a pub in Dublin called the Yarn Hall. And at closing time, the barman bolted the doors. And as he was going round the table, I was thinking he was coming to tell us to drink up. And as he reached our table, I was just about to tell him I was drinking up when he smiled at me, rubbed his hands together and said, "How are you fixed?" Because he wasn't throwing us out, he was locking us in. If you find yourself wandering in old Dublin town and you're feeling quite parched with the sun beating down, listen for voices and follow the sound, and sit yourself down in the yarn hall. Order a drink from the man at the bar, it won't take him long to pour you a jar. Quench your thirst slowly, it's better by far, then you can relax in the yarn hall. For they don't call last orders, they don't ring a bell, they don't throw you out, which is pleasing to tell. They just lock the door and then ask with a smile, "How are you fixed in the yarn hall?" There are greetings with backslaps and shaking of hands, drink from the bottle on draft and in cans. There's no karaoke or tribute type bands, they're just there to talk in the yarn hall. The people who go there all come back again, they know they'll be welcome and meet up with friends. A few drinks and the crack for a perfect weekend. There's no better place than the yarn hall. And they don't call last orders, they don't ring a bell, they don't throw you out, which is pleasing to tell. They just lock the door and then ask with a smile, "How are you fixed in the yarn hall?" Everyone's there with a story to tell, young men and old men and women as well. You can join in if you have a tale, that's what they do in the yarn hall. There are stories of sadness and stories of mirth, stories of dying and giving of birth. And everyone swears blind theirs is the truth, you won't hear a lie in the yarn hall. And they don't call last orders, they don't ring a bell, they don't throw you out, which is pleasing to tell. They just lock the door and then ask with a smile, "How are you fixed in the yarn hall?" Now as it progresses, the noise it gets loud, if you don't take care you'll get lost in the crowd. You really can't go home, that's not allowed, you have to stay in the yarn hall. The bar staff work hard and their hours are long, late in the evening they won't do you wrong. No one would hear if they sounded a gong, so they just lock you into the yarn hall. And they don't call last orders, they don't ring a bell, they don't throw you out, which is pleasing to tell. They just lock the door and then ask with a smile, "How are you fixed in the yarn hall?" No, they don't call last orders, they don't ring a bell, they don't throw you out, which is pleasing to tell. They just